Oh, yeah. Madness Wrestling Report is back. Once again, I am your host, Joe Madness, feeling a little bit under the weather, so excuse me if you hear me coughing a lot tonight. But I am joined with my co-hosts. Introduce yourself, fellas, to the left. Let's go. What's your name?
Yo, man, it's me, your daily dose of vitamin C, SG3. Y'all know how it's about to get down, up, and around town. In front of me is a man, the myth, the legend, man. Introduce yourself, man. Go ahead.
Hello, everybody. I'm the oldest man of the game. My name's Old Man RJ. And yes, we brought Joe Manis out of the hospital so he could do his show today.
Yeah, ain't that some shit, right?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Well, alrighty, guys. So we already know the next PLE WWE is Clash of the Castle, right?
Yeah.
So prediction time, fellas.
Uh,
Alrighty, the first match we have Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill in a triple threat tag team championship match versus Alba Fire
Alpha Fire.
Alba Fire and Isla Dawn versus Shayna and Zoe Starks. A three-way battle. What do you guys think, man? You guys think that the champions are going to retain, or do we get someone new, especially if, let's just say we got the hometown advantage out here?
Champions retain.
Champions retain.
Who's the hometown advantage?
What do you think, man?
Champs? Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm not supposed to know who's hometown in Clash of the Castle.
Where are they fighting? Anyways.
Yeah.
They're fighting in Scotland, man. They're
Oh.
fighting in overseas.
I mean, who's from Scotland out of those? Because I don't pay attention to the.
Alba,
Alba.
man. Alba.
She's going to put on a good show, but I think it's going to stay with the champs.
Yeah, probably going to stay for the champs. That's why they made it a triple threat, because I don't see them taking the pins. I see Shayna and Zoe Stark taking the pin.
I see it.
Yeah, so that's why they made it a three-way, because obviously when you're going to go in, hometown, so put it this way, hometown heroes are going to get chant. I'm not saying that Jade and Bianca are not going to get cheered on, but it's going to be less likely.
Yeah,
right?
pretty much.
So you're going to have to someone's going to have to take the pin and not make themselves get booed out of the building. So I see Shayna and Zoe Stark losing, obviously, and getting pinned. I see the champs retaining. I don't see them losing anytime soon because, this is good for Jade Cargill.
It's very good for Jade Cargill. She gets mentored. She gets, brought into the WWE limelight and things like that. So it works.
Yeah, so it works a little bit. Any other predictions for this match? Any interference, or you think it's just a clean win?
I think it's just a clean one.
Okay.
Because at this point, you're not trying to make them look
too dominant.
No, you're trying to make them look dominant. You're trying to make them
Yeah.
look dominant, but you're not trying to make them look like suspicious dominant. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like where you have to like get an interference or a mishap or something. It's just we just overpowered you guys. Because you already built them to be, you put Jade Cargill to be basically all of damage control by herself, and then you're gonna come out and just because like you added another tag team, even though her partner's right there, as a fluke, like that's why not, man. It's got to be dominant.
Alrighty, so we all agree on this table, man. Bianca and Jade are gonna retain. I don't see it otherwise. Anyone else winning this match?
I don't.
It's very odd, and it's gonna catch me by surprise if that's the case. So far, we got 5 matches again for this PLE, which has kind of been consistent. Well, it's been consistent the last.
I feel like with TKO taking over, they're trying to keep it within their own realm of how many fight cards they had on their fight card.
Like the UFC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed that when it's local, they have more.
Yeah.
International, they have the strict 5.
Which it is international.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like, if you guys look, whenever it's local, like they'll have more than just the 5 matches. They'll have a little bit more.
Obviously,
they'll have the 5.
Yeah, obviously they'll have a pre-show.
Yeah.
But who's gonna fight under that pre-show? It could be LA Knight versus Logan Paul. It could be. There's a couple of matches out there.
Maybe Cody Rhodes could be part of it. You never know.
We're gonna get there. So regardless. Next match. This one's actually my favorite, dude. It's been my favorite storyline so far.
It's been a good storyline, man. I know exactly what you're talking about.
We got Sami Zayn, the Intercontinental Champion himself, versus Chad Gable. This is a tough one. Part of me thinks that Sami Zayn could retain, but then part of me thinks that this Chad Gable, man, this new version of him has been on fire. Some of the best storyline right now in Raw is definitely centered around this. And then there's that rumor that supposedly Chad Gable's contract expiring and there's somewhere around that said they offered him the Intercontinental Champion. If he stays, he gets pretty much the title. If he stays, now we don't know if that's true or not. But if that rumor is correct, we might have a new champ. But if that rumor is false, then I could see Sami Zayn still retaining. That's my prediction. Personally, me, I'm gonna go with Chad Gable because I really do like this heel version of Chad Gable going on. And I know he has Otis and the rest of the guys. And we don't know yet if Otis is gonna really turn on him or not.
It looks like he is.
Yeah, but
I think here's my thing. I think if it's time to do it, it's now. It's next week. You cannot wait anymore because later on it loses the pop. It loses the surprise.
So you think he turns on him on Clash of the Castle? You're saying?
I think if it's going to happen, it has to happen there.
Okay, so who are you going to go for at this point?
I'll let the old man choose first, man, because I can't even choose myself. Because you know what, we've seen it happen multiple times where you get someone who turns, but yet the person who got the assist still loses.
Right.
That's why I was like, yeah, I don't know right now.
With the whole story about Chad Gable and Sami Zayn, I feel like Chad Gable's gonna lose, and I feel like Otis is gonna cost him the championship match.
So you think Sami Zayn's gonna win?
Yeah,
and I could see that, and that's what it looks like it's heading to. But part of me, you never know. I mean, it could be a screwy finish, and somehow Otis doesn't turn yet either. He might just help Chad Gable retain the title and still play this heel character, and then eventually be the whipping boy of Chad Gable. I mean, Chad Gable did say that Otis is his favorite out of the group, and it kind of looked like that's what Otis wants at this point. It's the appreciation, and he's getting it. So he may not turn now, but eventually it's coming. It may not be now. He may be like the enforcer of the group. And this may eventually get a turn, and not only a turn, but his own title match in SummerSlam. We never know. I mean, if Chad Gable's champion, eventually Otis is going to want a piece of that title if he sees it. I mean, that's my prediction. I'm going to go with Chad Gable. Otherwise, we'll go back to you. What do you think?
Here's what I think. I think Sammy wins clean. And because Otis doesn't help him, that's when Otis turns. There's got to be like something where, because remember, we still have one more Raw, so one more SmackDown before the event. So something's going to happen on Raw where Sammy's going to show Otis, like, dude, there's another side. You don't need Gable.
Right.
So at this point, that's what I'm saying. I'm going to play devil's advocate because I love playing this part where it's like, you know what, dude, I'm going to show you a different side where we're not just a whipping boy, where you are still that one, like, fun, lovable guy that everybody still loves here. And then it's like, cool. And then when he has the opportunity to actually turn on Gable, or turn and help out Gable, Otis doesn't do it. Sammy gets the haluva kick, gets the 1, 2, 3, runs out. Chad Gable gets up and he's like, what's going on? Why didn't you help me? You know, starts this whole beef and everything, and then out of the blue, Otis turns.
But so here's the thing, though. If Chad Gable does lose this one, he kind of loses steam here. That's the issue. And Chad Gable's been on the losing streak.
That's why if he's gonna lose, it has to be by fault, by like Otis costing him the win.
So that's why at this one, because you're so distracted, because you're distracted by Otis. So again, you're distracted by Otis. That's going to cost you, because again, it happened with Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
It happened with a lot of people where because of that one running kick that they all have. And that's what I'm saying. You turn to Otis. You're not looking at Sammy. You have something set up. I can't beat him. Help me beat him. And then out of the blue, because of that, haluva kick. 1, 2, 3. Sammy grabs the belt, runs out.
Okay, and if that's the case, then where do you head after that? Because at this point, Chad Gable's been chasing after that Intercontinental Champion, and he's not going to stop. But after that, it doesn't make sense for him to keep chasing it, though. That's the only issue.
Because now you're focusing on Chad against Otis. And
which is kind of nice,
yeah.
But then it's like, I feel like after one pay-per-view, that's it. You're done with that storyline, and you're back with the same Chad Gable that you had a while back.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's hot, man. The guy's actually really good promo cutter, man. I mean, the guy could talk. The guy could fucking wrestle. I think give him the title, man. Personally, I think right now is the best time.
I agree with you. It is time. It is
Yeah.
most definitely time. I think that for someone who's been in the business for such a long time and hasn't had a title since the tag team title,
Alpha, yeah.
since Alpha Academy, when he
was
with Jordan,
Jordan, yeah.
with whatever Jason Jordan, when they were actually tag team champions, he hasn't had anything ever since then. He hasn't had a singles championship or nothing. So I agree with you. Give him a title.
I think to me, it's like now or never.
Mhm.
Because at this point, if he doesn't get the Intercontinental Champion, he lost against Gunther, being the underdog. You know,
Yeah.
It's like at this point, it's now or never. And if you don't strike while the pan is hot, it's done. It's over. You overcooked your meal at that point, and that's what's just going to happen. Personally, what I think. But then again, we don't know how this is going to play out. But I can see your guys' point. But my 2 cents, I think he definitely should win. But so far, I guess it's 2 against 1, and it seems like we got Sami Zayn as the favorite here to win this one. But we'll see what happens. And then the next one's personally my favorite because I like the way this storyline has been going too. It's Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles in an I Quit match. So that's interesting. I don't know if you guys watched AJ Styles' promo from last week. It looked like he was about to retire. I mean, we've been getting hints. And for years, AJ has said personally that he is planning to retire early, that he only has a little bit of time left. And this was like years back. So we all know he's not going to be planning on staying in the game for that long. Because, I mean, he's 47. And let's just be real. At this age, I mean, he looks great. He really does. But his body's not going to keep up forever. So...
And on top of that, it's just time he spends time with his kids.
Yeah, I mean, he's a family man. So it's kind of interesting that he went that route of announcing retirement and all of a sudden, pulled a Mark Henry on Cody Rhodes, basically, when Mark Henry pulled that retirement bullshit and then beat the shit out of John Cena.
I mean, at this point, it's not just Cody, it's all of us because we all thought it was time.
It was time. So, but the thing is now they're facing each other in an I Quit match. Now, they didn't say anything on SmackDown, but it's kind of interesting they chose that match. So when you say I quit, does that mean that eventually, maybe this Friday, are they going to add another stipulation to that? Never know. That could be a surprise. Like, hey, if, let's just say if you don't beat me, it's time for you to retire. It's time for you to get out. You never know. That's a good swerve.
It could be. Here's my take on that one. I think that AJ loses.
Okay.
But then just take some time away for a little bit more to be with the family, go like this. Probably comes back and then it starts talking about his retirement run. Like his official retirement run. I don't think that they're going to add a stipulation. I think at this point it's like maybe AJ adds one.
Right.
If I beat you, you could never go for this title again while I still have the championship. Then it's like, all right, cool. Again, because this way, like, it prolongs more the talk of the retirement.
Yeah, it does actually, and we already know his time is coming soon.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting to see what they would do on next week's SmackDown and how they'll go about it. I mean, that's the thing with Cody, though. It's just like he doesn't have too much opponents on SmackDown that are legitimate good heels. So this is a pretty good guy to face again, in another matchup. And they could have another phenomenal matchup on Clash of the Castle. They really can. And we can see more of an aggressive side of AJ Styles that we haven't seen in a while.
Same thing with Cody.
Yeah, same thing with Cody as well. Oh man, what do you think? What's your 2 cents on this?
I believe that Cody's going to retain. It's too early to try to take the belt off of Cody, but I don't feel like AJ is going anywhere yet. I think, if anything, he will probably take time off. But the story is a little too hard for him to just, quit after this and go home. So I feel like AJ needs to have another match with Cody after this, and then probably after that one, take time off while Cody focuses on somebody else.
Right.
And then if this is the last year, I think AJ will come back and probably have, like SG3 was mentioning, like some type of retirement tour.
I can see that. Probably like maybe a Ric Flair type of tour. Where he just goes off until he loses, basically.
And probably loses at WrestleMania again.
And I would say, personally, to me, if he's going to lose to someone, he has to put someone younger over. And, I mean, someone younger, one of these guys that are coming into the game, basically.
Carmelo Hayes would be great.
I was thinking about that right now. It's
Carmelo Hayes would be great.
Would be great to get put over, being the man who retired AJ Styles. I'm gonna go with Cody because, like I said, man, regardless, he still sells merch.
Cody's Cody.
Yeah, and they're not gonna put the title on AJ. Like I said, they're not gonna put that big title. I said, a while back, they should put a U.S. title or an Intercontinental title on them.
The 24/7 title.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that title, but
our truth held it for so long that it just became part of him.
Yeah. Well, regardless, I think we're all set on Cody on this one.
Yep.
So it looks like this one's for sure Cody winning. And on to the next and final match that pretty much is going to main event. Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight title. That's a tough one. I don't know about you guys. I don't think this is easy said and done. We could say that Drew's going to win it. But is he really going to win it when Damian just barely grabbed onto the title?
Yeah, true. I feel like Damian is retaining.
I'm going to say Damian retains, and I'm going to say we're going to have a surprise appearance from the Pepsi man himself, CM Punk. Yeah, it's kind of like that one-night stand moment from Edge years back where he came in and attacked John Cena.
RVD versus John Cena 2008.
Yeah, and surprise the fans. So he'll get a loud pop, and once he attacks Drew, we're going to just get a amount of boos probably. Because, that crowd's going to be pro fucking McIntyre.
Oh, yeah, it's 100% already pro McIntyre.
And, that's the crazy part about it. These two guys have been cutting some pretty good back and forth promos.
Drew's mic work has improved so much.
Well, they're finally letting him be himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, shout out to Damian Priest, too, man. He's been holding on to his own, man. He's been fighting back. He's been fighting fire with fire, man. We also have the issues with the Judgment Day, but I don't think that's going to play a factor.
What issues? No.
We could go into deeper to the root on that, but I don't think that's going to play a factor that night. I really think is that we haven't seen CM Punk in a while, and I've been seeing workout videos. He's been training. He's getting leaner, getting back in shape. He looks like he's 100% pretty much. So I could see him come back and eventually get a program going afterwards with Drew McIntyre, a proper program. Hopefully by then, knock on wood, he doesn't get injured.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say Damian Priest retains. What about you guys?
I agree. Priest retains. I agree.
I feel like, yeah.
I
totally agree. I feel like Priest is gonna have to retain.
Yeah, because just too soon for him to lose.
However, though, I do believe that the Judgment Day distraction is going to happen. I feel like there's going to be something that's going to distract them with the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Either before the match, during the match, or somewhere in between for both segments. So it could be like Dominic tries to come out, and here comes Liv Morgan trying to do something else.
Right.
So I feel like there's going to be something in that match that's building more of that tension. And eventually it's going to get to the point where they're going to sit here and say, Dom, hurry us. What's going on, dude?
Yeah, it could be that. Or I really think it's more Finn Balor and JD McDonough because you notice that they've been having issues personally with Damian Priest. Now we have Dominic with Liv Morgan, but I don't know if you noticed, but there's really a lot of tension between Finn, JD, with Damian Priest.
I seen that.
Yeah, so I feel like that's going to be the issue, and I feel like eventually Finn and JD is going to turn on Damian Priest, and eventually we're going to get his anti-hero face turn of Damian Priest against the Judgment Day.
So I don't know if you heard, but they've been saying like the word Prince a lot. Prince. Last time I checked, that's Finn's heel character name. Before like the Demon King comes out, because even he's been saying eventually, I'm gonna bring back the Demon King. He wants to bring him back, but this is like before you bring back the Demon King, which is like your good guy side. I can see it happening where the Prince comes out, and Prince comes out to be the heel. So I can see that happening.
So you think the Prince Devitt's coming back?
I think so.
If you're going to be the leader of the Judgment Day, or whatever this new faction is going to be called, because it might just be entirely new members besides JD. So I feel like Dominic and Liv is just going to, quietly get off. You know what I mean? Do their own thing. And we're just going to have JD and the Prince himself in one faction with maybe a couple more added members. It could be interesting to bring back the Prince and the Demon as well. Even though the Demon has been heavily buried throughout the last few years. Yeah, I don't know, but I could see that going on.
There is a conspiracy out there. I'm gonna go before we continue on the match card. There's a conspiracy out there that they've been saying that it's actually not Liv and Dom. It's actually Liv and Finn trying to set something up because they planted the seed about 2 to 3 years ago, where it was first Judgment Day with Edge at the time. Was first with them, and it was AJ and Finn in the back, and there's Liv, and you just basically hear Finn say, "Hey, you got our back, right, sister? Right, you got our back." And she was like, I don't know. So everyone's like, "Hey, this could be a plant that we just didn't see all those years ago."
That would be a nice touch from like a few years back, like a little Easter egg, like you were saying. I would like to see that. It wouldn't be a bad storyline going on from there on.
And the whole flip.
It would be actually. It was kind of like what the fuck kind of moment.
Yeah.
And then at that point, you're kind of seeing someone from the other side of the company as well. And unfortunately, that guy is not on TV anytime soon. Let's hope he speedy recovery for Adam Copeland.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it happens, man. I mean, it just happens. So either way, that's pretty much predictions for Clash of the Castle, all 5 matches. We could put that on the books, and obviously we're going to be here next week. So come join us then. You know, it's going to be an early pay-per-view, so guys, tune in. Remember, put your clocks back, put some alarms, and tune in for that. All righty, on to the next topic, and this one's actually a favorite topic that I want to talk about. We got Jordan Grace will challenge Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship at Battleground. And she's been showing up in NXT recently quite often, man. And she just had a match recently and won. And looked strong about it, too. I mean, honestly, I like how they're going about this whole TNA NXT crossover lately.
Do they have a relationship?
So they have kind of like, I think, a handshake relationship so far. But I mean, it looks like they're in good working relationship. Like, especially now that Triple H is in charge and Vince is out of the picture, there's no like pride, ego, and they're both coexisting together pretty well. I don't know if you guys saw, but when Jordan Grace came out and when she turned around, you saw NXT NA.
Yep.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was really great promotion-wise, promoting herself. Too bad that if they're probably never going to come out with shirts because we don't know who's going to get the majority of the sales at that point. But regardless, I mean, personally, I like it. It gets like the whole. Honestly, it's getting people involved in NXT. It really is. Gets all eyes because they're actually been doing really great ratings. They've been popping on ratings recently, and we could say it's thanks to Jordan Grace, thanks to Ethan Page. His appearance recently, his surprise appearance. I didn't expect that one. That was quiet too.
No one did.
Yeah, no one did. And Jordan Grace. That was like last minute type of things.
Yep.
Yeah. And honestly, that's great work. That's like keeping kayfabe alive, dude.
It definitely does.
Yeah.
It definitely does.
And that's the type of stuff that makes the viewership pop, man, because you don't ever know what you're going to expect.
No, you don't. And
yeah.
I mean, it's just like it brings back that mystery to like the kind of wrestling we grew up with. You know, the kind of wrestling style where you would see it and it was like, man, what's going to happen next? You know, who's coming now? Who's going to interfere? Who's going to be signed? So when you had like all these different comebacks from injury or comebacks who were signed or who switched companies, it was like, oh my goodness. So right now, this whole work with TNA, it actually makes it a little bit more interesting to see what's going to happen week after week after week, because eventually they're not going to just stay with NXT. They're going to go to the main roster.
So put it this way. Yeah, you're right. And also it'll be interesting to see, because I guess they're having a relationship as well where you're going to see some NXT wrestlers appear in TNA. And they do have a pay-per-view. So tomorrow is Battleground. So we're going to get Jordan Grace or Roxanne Perez for the title. That's going to be interesting. First of all, it's going to be a good match, dude. I mean, personally, dude, when you look at Jordan Grace, she looks like $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, dude, she has all eyes on her right now from WWE. Shawn Michaels is a big fan of her. Like, Shawn Michaels was following her for a while already, knew all these personal stuff that she's been doing and all this. And she was quite surprised that she was a fan of her. So, you know, you could say basically this is like getting into the door of WWE. So basically, when her contract expires, I think next year in TNA, I could really see her pulling the trigger and just moving on to WWE at this point. I mean, she looked great in the Rumble. Honestly, she was one of the best attraction of the Rumble this year, I want to say. Yeah, because, I mean, she looked great, dude. She looked like a powerhouse. She was just getting it in there.
Her versus Jade would be a great match.
Yeah, her versus Jade would be great. Yeah, her versus Bianca. There's, like, many opportunities there, man.
Her versus Bayley.
Yeah.
And Bayley's not a powerhouse, but Bayley has, like, that pop that you need.
Yeah, and then she's been cutting some pretty good promos. So I've been following her for, like, years, and she wasn't really great in the mic. But, like, that recently changed. You could tell she's putting work.
That promo she cut on Matt Cardona and his wrestling girl, that's awesome.
That's awesome, dude. And that's the thing. You can tell, like, she's been putting in work. She's still learning. And if she moves into, like, eventually next year into NXT itself, I mean, that's just going to elevate her to the next level. And I mean, that style she has is already ready for WWE. It really is. So, personally, I'm excited for this one. And then next week we have Against All Odds in Chicago, a TNA pay-per-view. So we're hearing that Jordan Grace has an open challenge going on, and we're hearing a lot of rumors that's going to be someone from the WWE side appearing. So I don't know who's going to appear. So let me put out a scenario here. And let's just say this in a nice, perfect world that I want.
That we all want?
That we all want. I want to see tomorrow Jordan Grace beat Roxanne Perez for the NXT title.
Oh.
Right? Take the title away from her, dominate, beat her, because Roxanne's probably coming in hot, like, oh, I got this. No way a TNA wrestler is going to come in, someone from the small leagues, beat me, then gets her ass whooped, right? Takes the title, and then eventually next week we see Roxanne Perez appear in Against All Odds and challenge her for a rematch and takes her title back. That would be a shocker. That would be a surprise, and that would shake the wrestling world.
It would.
It would. And why not? And why not? Besides, like, pride's being a factor at this point, why not just shock the wrestling world, man? It's like, we need this type of shit. We really do. Now, we had a AEW and TNA crossover before, and I'll be real, it was kind of lackluster on AEW side with TNA being involved. It really was. So it's like, why not do it the right way? You know what I mean? You get one, I'm going to get one in.
Yeah.
And at that point, if Jordan Grace is going to WWE next year, that's a big win no matter what. You're basically putting your stock into, your money into your stock right now, and eventually the return is going to be greater by next year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I want to happen. Is it going to happen? Who knows?
Who knows?
But any other 2 cents you want to put on this?
I think right now it's a good time to keep doing it, and eventually, I know it's not going to happen. But here's a wishful thinking, cross your fingers, saying prayers, everything. WWE and AEW start working together.
I would love that. I would love to see that.
That'll be the ultimate forbidden door. It's not AEW and New Japan. It's AEW and WWE. That'll be the ultimate forbidden door.
Well, that would be like one of those things that we never thought we were going to ever see.
That's what I'm saying. The ultimate forbidden door.
Yeah. I would like to see AJ Styles have one more match. So put it this way. What if he does quit WWE? What if he quits WWE? What if they do make a stipulation? You got to quit WWE. He gets back into TNA for a bit. And have that relationship.
Between us, I don't think so.
I
mean, in a perfect world, it'll happen. In a perfect world, it's right down. Yeah, heck yeah, I want to go to TNA. I want to go face Kenny Omega. I want to face one more time the Young Bucks. I want to face all these guys over there.
But the thing is, they don't have a relationship with TNA, though.
No, I'm saying in a perfect world.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. In a perfect world, it does exist. In a perfect world, he can say, you know what, I want to go back with TNA and have my matches with Broken Matt Hardy now.
Yeah, with Moose.
I can go back and start, from there, but I still am independent. I'm not just AEW signed or TNA signed. I'm just independent. I can go bounce back and forth.
Yeah, well, if they play it right, they could just show him appearing once in a while in TNA, and he could still have his vacation.
Yeah,
Because TNA is not a heavy schedule.
it's not
It's really coming in for the big PLEs and just coming out.
true.
Come in, cut a little promo from home, show some video package and show them that, now that you're big shit, you're too good to show up for the.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, hey, you never know. I mean, we don't know what this relationship is going to be about. I mean, there's no paperwork out there. So, I mean, time will tell. We'll find out. I'm pretty sure after this weekend. But, I mean, like I said, man, there's possibilities. You just don't know, man. It's exciting. It's making this summer looking pretty good, man. For all.
The summer of signings.
Yep. So, all righty, talking about signings, man, and releases. So we got a couple of contracts expiring coming up.
Do you believe the one we found out today?
Well, I'm about to get to that. So let me name a couple.
Go ahead.
Let's start with AEW side.
Okay.
We have, and I'm just going to name a few. I'm not going to name all of them. The big ones for me. We got Mark Henry leaving AEW. He's already confirmed that. We got, this one's kind of my personal favorite, Ann Anderson leaving AEW. And we've been hearing talks that Cody Rhodes said he might want a manager in the future. Now, he said it himself that he's only leaving so he could focus on his son and help him, become more of a better wrestler. But that's what they always say,
And then boom, here you go.
Yeah. That's kind of be interesting if he leaves and shows up in WWE and now he's Cody Rhodes' manager. Because, like I said, he's kind of been hinting that he wants a manager eventually in the future.
I mean, we've seen it with a lot of people. We saw it with Random Regal. We saw it with Cody. So, I mean, it can happen. It can happen.
And it'll be interesting. I honestly think he still has a little bit left in the tank, man.
A little bit left.
I mean, when he was Cody Rhodes' manager in AEW, he was doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got another one. This one's a personal favorite, Jake Hager.
Jack one, too.
Honestly, dude, with this guy, he's already up there in age. He had his moment and basically flopped.
In more ways than one.
Yeah, there's not much left for him to do, really. I don't think he's going to go to WWE. I don't see it. If he does, I could see him NXT just so he could get squashed and put over the next guys. TNA is a good option. New Japan. Maybe he goes back in the Octagon because he did fight a couple of matches.
Yeah.
But he's up there in age. I don't know what this guy. Like I said, once upon a time, he was a name that you could bring up, but the way he's been pretty much producing AEW the last couple of years, he's just kind of a nobody at this point. So I don't see him really going many places at this point. But the next guy, we heard some interest that of WWE bound is Penta El Cero Miedo.
No.
I personally don't want to see it, but there's some talks that the Lucha Bros kind of got, interested in WWE bound. I don't know if their contract expiring. I don't know if this is negotiations. But personally, I think they're doing great work in AEW.
Keep them in AEW.
Yeah.
Keep them in AEW. If they go, you're not going to really hear the cero miedo as you hear it. It's not the same emphasis, man. Even if it's done by not so many people, don't do it.
Nope. And not only that, dude, but it's like, we heard some comments recently from Andrade and how they're treating these Hispanic wrestlers, and it's kind of true, man. They just put them all in one group, or you know what I mean? Like stick them all together. And I get it; they're all Hispanics, but it's like, come on, man. Like at least with AEW, you have them spread apart, and have their own factions and stuff. But here it's like, all right, he's Mexican. All right, go ahead, or Hispanic, go ahead. Stick them with the LWO.
Yep.
Or no, stick them with the other ones. It's just freaking ridiculous at this point. I think he's going to get more opportunities in AEW because we already seen it. He's been having singles matches as well, and he's doing great work. Like you said, he's not going to get the same pop, if you will, in WWE. And hopefully that's a false rumor, and I hope that it doesn't happen.
I hope so, too. I hope so, too.
And then on to WWE bound. We got this one, Chad Gable. We were just talking about it earlier. So his contract is expiring, and I hear that AEW is interested in picking up Chad Gable. So it could be big money coming his way. And then we heard the rumor that he's been offered the Intercontinental Champion, which that's a big push. That means more money, and that means bigger opportunities. So that is kind of interesting to see where he would go with that route. I personally think he's already been in WWE for years.
He has.
You can tell he still likes the business. You could tell he's enjoying it. He's having fun. I think he's just gonna stick around.
I think so too. He's not gonna leave.
He's not gonna leave anytime soon.
Worst case scenario would be to be like with his daughter, with his wife for like a little bit, but at this point, no, he's not leaving.
Yeah, he's not gonna leave. I feel like he would stick around, and right now he's one of the hottest, hottest acts right now in WWE. He really is, and he has a lot left in the tank. So yeah, I see him sticking around. And then we got another one, a Hart. We have Natalya. That one's kind of interesting. Now she's up there in age, right? And then recently, over the last couple of years in WWE, she's been getting squashed. Let's be real. She has never really had a moment.
Yeah.
When's the last time you remember Natalya really having a moment like that where she was going to capture the title, or you know what I mean, a big pop? It's been years.
Yeah.
I could see her thinking about leaving. I could see her exiting the company and maybe trying out AEW, just because you still have the Owen Hart tournament.
Well, I don't know if you've seen with social media recently. Natalya posted, "Enough is enough, and it's time for a change."
Yeah,
that was paying homage to her old uncle. God rest his soul.
And that's what I said. Hey, you got the Owen Hart tournament. Why not just give it a shot? You're not going to get any younger. You're up there in age. She's a great wrestler, phenomenal wrestler. And she'll get a huge pop out there, man.
Absolutely.
And not only that, but they could help her train some of the younger females.
Definitely. Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing, dude. Like, you'll still have a job even if you decide to retire.
So my question is, do you think there should be like the trainer to the young talent that Willow Nightingale put over?
I think it's more of a talent for the Ring of Honor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, women wrestlers, because there's a lot there that she could definitely help out. Put over, help out, and I could think she'll have a lot more matches won under her belt there compared to what she's getting right now everywhere.
What? She's on a winning streak with WWE. What are you talking about?
Yeah, right. I mean, we don't know her future, but personally, I would actually like to see her in AEW. Because I feel like there's more opportunities there, and she is a great wrestler. It'll be nice to see her, and with the, try it out for a bit. On to the next one. And this one's the man herself, Becky Lynch.
She's gone already, though. Becky Quinn is gone.
Becky's contract expired, yeah.
She's gone. She left the company.
Yeah.
Is rumor true? Yes or no?
She is gone, yeah.
No, that's not that. That's not that answer I'm looking for.
What?
Is she going to sign with the other company?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't see her leaving WWE at all. Especially, so put it this way, Seth Rollins is there, and Seth Rollins said in an interview a while back, he's basically a WWE lifer, which is kind of dumb. Because it's like, you don't say that when you're going to have, you're going to eventually have a renegotiation contract. It's kind of shooting yourself on the foot.
I mean, it works for him, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know his figures when it comes to his contracts, but regardless, it's something that you want to just like always play around with. And I feel like that's what she's going to do, is play around with numbers out here and see what she could get offered. She's going to take some time off. She's going to go, with her daughter, spend some time. Hell, she might even
be a mom.
Have another kid.
Yeah.
You never know. She'll probably be gone for a year, 2 years.
I would say about a year and a half.
Yeah, I think I'll give her 2 years, because it's like, you can tell like she's, she wants to try the family thing for a bit and then come back. And let's just be real, her pop is not the same as it was years ago. So this is a good opportunity to promote your book, get out there, be a mom, do your thing. And then when it comes back to like, all right, let's see where we can sign. Hey, get a bigger contract. Go to AEW and say, what can you offer me, Tony Khan? I'm sure Tony Khan is going to.
Tony Khan's going to bring out the Brinks truck for that woman.
Oh, yeah, dude. I'm sure Tony Khan's going to offer one of the biggest contracts for any women wrestler in the history of WWE. And likewise from WWE.
And here comes Mercedes Moné. You got to pay me more.
Yeah, the CEO versus the. Think about this though. Imagine that the CEO versus the man or whatever she's going to be named by then at Wembley.
Oof.
That would be some shit.
Whoo, especially because he's European. Ooh.
Yeah, that would be some shit. That's something that I actually would love to see, and that's a fantasy book. Now, do I really think she's gonna go to AEW? Hell,
I don't
think so. I think she's a WWE lifer for sure.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think she's gonna renegotiate. She's gonna go knock on the door, get the numbers, show WWE, and be like, "Can you match this?" And I think they will. They're not gonna want to lose Becky Lynch. She's definitely a role model for the kids, and she's still definitely, she's definitely one of their top superstars, no matter what. So I don't think she's going anywhere.
Not sure not.
And on to the next one, and we got Ricochet. So according to PW Insider today, he definitely has put in notice that he's planning to leave the company
after his contract expires this summer.
Remember, this has been announced today. We're not sure, and this from PW Insider, we're not sure the legitimacy of this, but if it's true, it doesn't shock me.
It doesn't shock me either. No.
He's been basically buried the last couple of years since he moved on from the NXT roster.
Yeah.
Yeah, under Vince's McMahon's booking, basically buried and buried and buried and buried. And then when Triple H took over, has given him a little bit of life, but still losing matches.
It's like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, he has had a couple of banger matches. He's been showing off his skills that he should have showed off in the beginning, but the issue is he's still losing. I do understand he is the first speed champion, but he just lost it.
Yeah.
To Andrade. And if this is true, this kind of makes sense. Like, all right, I'm going to give you my notice. Guess what? We're taking the title off.
True.
Kind of makes sense. I kind of see him.
Or they're saying they're going to start writing him off where he's going to be part of a lot of storylines going forward. So I can see that too.
Yeah, and he was kind of tangled with Braun Breaker.
Yeah, he was.
So if that's not the case, then it's kind of interesting to see what's going to happen. If she's just going to get squashed real bad one of these days. And that's
by himself, squashed by himself.
Yeah.
Take this, myself. How about this, myself?
I mean, it just takes one spear. Braun Breaker to destroy him in half. That's it. Game over. Send him back to whatever company he wants to be at that point. For him, I feel like he fits perfectly in any promotion.
He does, because he has a high flying. He has a tough guy. He has the funny. So he has all of that in the one package.
We could say he's AEW bound, but he could also be AAA.
He could
perfectly there. CML.
Heck, New Japan.
New Japan. We'll love to have him. Like I said, there's a couple of promotions out there. Hell, TNA.
Yeah. He
could come back. It's not Ricochet, but Prince Puma. I can see that. His name returning to Prince Puma, and there's a lot more opportunity for his style out there, and he's not getting any younger. I think it's time for him for changing. If he wants to be successful, he needs to move out of that WWE bubble and get out there more. And there's many opportunities out there. There really is. I'm excited for that one because
I just think at this point, if he was to go, I would stay independent. Don't sign with AEW. Don't sign with TNA. Stay independent. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep moving forward and keep growing yourself as a talent and get past where people remember you as a guy who was just very nonstop.
Right. So basically go the Matt Cardona route.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that makes sense for him because hell, dude, he could go out in the TNA. Yeah. Have a banger against the champion Moose.
Him against Swerve Strickland.
Will Ospreay, obviously.
Will has been begging for that match, man.
I mean, his style with Will's style, that's going to get Meltzer to give him like a 20-star rating.
The moment the entrances happen, 25-star rating, and I'm done. Walking away now.
Dude, the moment they just lock eyes on each other when they're in the ring, the crowd just
45.
Imagine that in Wembley.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, man. That would just lose my shit, man. I'm not going to lie. That is a match that it has to happen before we all pass away.
Yes.
It really does.
Don't care if they're 107 and fighting in wheelchairs. We need them to fight.
Yeah, so personally, I would love to see him get out there.
Yeah.
Is he going to do it?
Could be.
I really think he's pretty much has his foot out the door. I could see it at this point because for years, it just looks like he just doesn't like being there. It just looks like he has cut some promos that said like, I've been losing. I mean, what else do I got left here? He's been kind of giving hints in his little promos.
Yep.
And you could tell that's from the heart. So, I mean, if he wants his career to advance and get some, self-respect back into his career.
Gotta wear some gold.
Hey, man, get out there, man. Do the Matt Cardona route and just be the independent wrestler, like you said.
Yeah.
All righty. We're going to move on to the last part today. It's the documentary on who killed WCW. So the first episode dropped a couple of days ago. I don't know if you watched it. But yeah, it's a 4-part series. So the first one dropped, and then the next one's going to drop next week. I did watch it.
Okay.
So personally, I did like WCW. Big fan of it. I've heard all the stories by now, man. Like, this thing has been played out for years. Now, we all got our opinions. We all got our, who really killed it, who did this and that. But in the first episode, by the end of it, it kind of looked like they were kind of blaming Hogan. A lot of people were blaming Hogan except for Eric Bischoff.
Yeah.
But he was kind of like, well, it's not his fault. He had creative control. And then a lot of people were like, oh, yeah, it was him. And a big part of it for the first episode, so they're playing this out by like quarters of the years, basically. So they showed off basically the boom period where, WCW was growing, when they went to the Mall of America, where they got the fans invested. That was a beautiful sight, by the way, dude. I mean, the way Eric Bischoff played that day, getting all these people invested and just showing up, smart, really smart of him. It made them look like they had a crowd of people out there that didn't know shit, but they were there. Yeah. And that was the time where malls were busy back in the day. So, yeah, if you do that shit now, good luck.
You have more luck in a high school gym than you do in a mall.
And even then, barely. So, anyways, eventually they showed that into the New World Order formation. And, how they were getting heat, but great heat, how people thought it was real. Yep. Which at the time, we did not see that type of style of wrestling. That's storyline, acting. People were legitimately calling the police saying people were getting beat up. Yeah. So that stuff, of course, is nice to see, man. That stuff is the childhood stuff that we grew up with.
Yeah.
Man. And then eventually the biggest factor of the story was Sting versus the NWO.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you heard the story about the fast count.
No.
So put it this way. Sting and Hogan, before the match, were talking with the ref.
Mm-hmm. So
Hogan said that when, Sting covers him, he told the ref, hey, count fast. That way you make it seem like, he was getting screwed over. Sting told the referee, whatever Hogan said, don't go that route. And they went back and forth all day. So eventually, if you watch the match, they did get a fast count when they came down to Sting pinning them. And it made it look like Sting actually screwed out of Hogan. And of course, we all knew who
screwed who, or who intended to screw who.
That doesn't work for me, brother. So that was a big issue. And people were saying that was really like the start of the downfall. From there, it just went back down. And I remember that storyline. It was crazy to see, dude, because at the time, Sting came out from the rafters. Sting was stalking the NWOs.
Yep.
The many Stings. It was a good storyline. It was the perfect storyline, but it was a shitty ass ending. It really was. And that it's like, your 2 cents. You remember that era. What do you think?
I'll be honest. If I can remember it, because I really didn't watch a lot of WCW, but from what I remember, honestly, man, with WCW, it was Bischoff and Hogan.
Right.
Bischoff is not the kind of person who's going to sit there and say, I take blame for what happened. It's more the, what? As long as the spotlight is away from him, but dim on me, I'm okay. And if you think about it, that's the way everyone's treating it so far from episode 1, from what you told me. It's Hogan's at fault. Bischoff was like, well, he's Hulk Hogan. I can't tell him what to do. He's Hulk Hogan. I couldn't stop him because he is Hulk Hogan. So I feel that at this point, it's more like, no, it's both of them. At this point, it's who blames who points the finger more.
Well, put it this way. Do you agree that that was the startfall of the start of the fall. Basically, it became with Sting versus Hogan. Because if you watch that match, it was a shitty ending. It really was.
I didn't see that match. I remember that like. That I can tell you personally. I remember that there was a lot of reason why WCW died or downfall, and it was like I think it was more also the just the whole multiple NWOs.
Well, that was part of it that I could agree with. I think personally, you can see, put it this way: you have a great storyline that you're building up for weeks. You go in there, you screw the finish badly, where people still remember to this day, what the fuck was the fast count? You damage your product, and I think that was the start of the cracks in the foundation, and that's when it started tumbling down eventually. And then, so that's kind of where the episode ends, right?
Okay.
So our 2 cents here would be like you said, formation of the NWO, which I feel like they will go about in the next 3 episodes.
If they don't bring this the order of, excuse me, don't get me wrong. I was a fan of the Wolfpack. However, I just feel that
It wasn't necessary.
not just that, but it wasn't necessary. But also, like you just had the. It was too many world orders.
It was.
It was too many factions just with the same name, just a different core.
Well,
So
put
you
it
had the
this way.
NWO, NWO Red Pack, LWO, Blue Mini World, whatever, Blue Mini faction, whatever. That used to be the world order as well.
Well, that was more ECW.
Yeah, but it's like you had those.
Well, at one point you had NWO Elite or Hollywood.
Yeah.
And then you had NWO B Team, which was what's his name? Booker T's brother Stevie Ray,
Yeah.
the leader. And they were basically the B team of the group. You had NWO Wolfpack, obviously. You had NWO 2000. That was the last one, I think. So yeah, you had a lot of formations of the group, and it was getting repetitive. As well as bad booking, horrible booking.
I just think that here's my thing. I think at this point it was more like they didn't know how to combat the whole time where Austin's coming up, Austin's growing, and Austin is now beating up on Vince McMahon, stunning Vince McMahon, doing this against Vince. So it's like they didn't have that, and they were like, "Well, this is thrown out of left field."
Well, put it this way: when that was happening, and this is more backstage stuff that I remember reading about and hearing about for years, and it's backed up. There's information out there. So AOL at the time was merging with buying out basically what's his name's company, Ted Turner's company, right? They didn't even love wrestling at that point, so they were telling them, "Hey, stop putting this edgy shit out there and start putting more family friendly product." And that's what a lot of people said, that they were pushing back against the old edgy stuff that they used to put out there. So by the time where WWE or WWF at the time had their Attitude Era, at that point, hey, now we got the cool stuff, and now these idiots have the family-friendly product, the stupid gimmicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was also a big factor, on top of bad booking, on top of Vince Russo, Eric Bischoff.
Goodness. Forgot that he went to WCW. My thing is also the fact of like there was like too many things that even I question. I'm like, why?
Goldberg losing a streak.
Goldberg losing the streak the way he lost the streak.
Against Kevin Nash at all.
Clean the way he did it too.
Yeah, and then at the time, Kevin Nash was booking his matches.
Yep.
So yeah, no, I'm gonna give myself the streak win. I could get him winning. Because at the time, yes, he was the most popular wrestler in WCW, but there wasn't any credible storyline to it. That is the issue I had with that. Like, if he did it the right way as a heel, an ultimate heel, and was squashing people, why not?
Yeah. But
obviously that didn't happen.
Absolutely.
In your Poke of Doom,
Oh,
that was fucking horrible.
Bret Hart signing to WCW, it was bad.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Bret Hart signing to WCW was bad.
He didn't do anything with them. His most memorable moment, besides him wrestling Chris Benoit for his brother's honor, basically, match, was when he had a little feud with Goldberg, and when Goldberg came in and speared him, and then he got up, and he was wearing the protective gear, and Goldberg just got knocked out, and the crowd popped like crazy. But after that, that's it. And obviously that's it because his career went to shit after that.
What are you talking about? He won the SmackDown title over Kevin Owens.
Oh, yeah.
He beat Brock Lesnar. Faced Roman Reigns.
I was talking about Bret Hart.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Bill Goldberg. I'm like, man, Bill Goldberg had a great career as well.
Fucking Goldberg.
I just think at this point, but I think here's my take with Bret Hart. Bret Hart, yeah, he had a moment where he got kicked, and it, unfortunately. But the thing was with Bret, it's been the sour taste after. I get the fact that wrestling hasn't done you right, and I get the fact that wrestling hasn't done you how it should treat you for being one of its favorite sons. I feel that at this point, though, you can't be bitter. I get it, man. You went through a lot in wrestling, and you almost lost your life in wrestling. I get that 100%. I really do. But at the end of the day, it's like, how about you are more thankful because of wrestling? You are who you are.
Well, I get what you're saying, and you're not wrong. But it's kind of hard where wrestling is in his blood completely. That family just grew up wrestling from the day they were born.
And I get you. 100%.
And it's hard to move away, especially from a man that still was successful and still had able to wrestle after. Of course, he had that incident with Bret Hart. And in reality is too, man, Bill Goldberg was a fucking horrible wrestler.
Still is.
Before Bret Hart, he was actually throwing people in bad ways throughout matches. He did not know how to wrestle. And then even afterwards, we all remember his matches, he was just horrible, man.
He was too stiff.
He didn't know how to throw people. He didn't know how to sell. And of course, he squashed many guys because he didn't want to put over. Yeah, I could get it from both sides. And I know Goldberg has clapped back to Bret Hart, and that's a big no-no, of course. So it's the ongoing beef that probably never going to get settled. But regardless, man, there's many fucking things out there. I think the reality is AOL. Like, people always want to say, what really killed WCW? There's really a simple solution. It was AOL. It really was. They didn't want wrestling. Once Ted Turner sold his company, they were out there to destroy the last of WCW, and they did. They did a perfect job. They sold the remaining rights to WWE for $3.5 million for their video, package and everything else. Mm-hmm. That was dirt cheap back then. That ain't shit. No. God, man, any multi-millionaire could have got that. Anybody. But here's the thing. Here's some conspiracy theories. I guess at the time, WWE, one of the corporate guys in WWE at the time, had a friend in AOL, a buddy. And I guess he got him to convince him to sell that $3.5 million just to WWE. When at the time, I think it was Eric Bischoff went in there with the group of investors and tried to purchase it, I guess, for $60 million.
Oof.
But the thing is that they wanted airtime. And that's the thing. They didn't want to give him the airtime. But then years later, we got AEW. But, so here's the thing. I know a lot of people like to compare WCW versus, WCW with AEW now. It's not the same shit, bro. WCW was a shit show. And the perfect guy to tell you that himself was Tony Schiavone. He said it himself recently when he was getting flagged about AEW being WCW 2.0. Tony Schiavone's like, no, you guys don't know what you're talking about. I was there throughout all the bad times in WCW, and it was fucking horrible. Nothing will ever compare to those times. And that comes from the guy who's been an all-lifer in WCW, basically. So coming from him, man, I mean, can AEW learn something from it? Yes. Has AEW made mistakes? Yes. Do I think AEW is the next WCW 2.0? No, I really don't. Because they actually have great matches. They do have great product out there.
Here's where I agree with you on that. AEW has great matches. AEW has talent like no tomorrow. There is no one that can top that talent. I just feel that they need to start doing better with the drama.
Yeah, but otherwise...
And I'm not saying where John Moxley pokes himself every single 5 seconds to make himself bleed even more. I'm actually talking like the storyline. I'm talking the dialogue, the dialect, the conversations. That's what drives us as you know, as a lot of fans. It's like, all right, cool. What's going to be said? What was said? What was driven? What was being taken? Because you don't have direction.
You know, but at the same time, dude, that's your niche audience, though.
And I get that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people who are like, oh, yeah, man. But eventually it's like when you see one company doing the right thing that we fell in love with as kids and we fell in love with in the 80s, the 70s, and everything, and what made it what it was. And then it's like the other one who did it at first, but then is getting away from it. It's like, oh, why should I keep watching you?
Well, put it this way. A lot of people say that, but then the ratings recently has been going back up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you finally got the talker back.
Well, even before then, he wasn't there the week before.
And they did almost, yeah.
And some people could say that was also because of the NBA finals, playoffs, and all that type of stuff. I think they're always going to have their consistent viewers. I don't think that's ever going to go away. Because right now, more than ever, wrestling is cool again.
Wrestling is great.
Yeah, and we do need their alternative.
We do.
And
we
AEW
really
definitely is. Now, do I agree with you? Yes, they should tell a better storyline. Do they got time to do it? Yeah. So put it this way. The reason I say it's never going to be compared, it took WCW years to get to that boom period, right?
True.
It took AEW really a year to get talked about.
I would say months. Because if you think about it, it was they did all out here. They were starting to sign the paperwork, and people, when they started getting letters like, hey, we're about to become a company, blah, 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 this and that in Jacksonville, Florida.
And it popped.
People were like, oh, we're like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And then boom, it comes up and it's like, whoa, okay, I can't wait to see this. So yeah, that's happens.
Yeah, compared to WCW, they pop right away. Now, can you say, well, they don't do great viewerships compared to WCW? Come on, man. WWE doesn't even do that type of viewerships anymore either. You know, that time in cable is over.
I just feel that people are just the higher the number, people are excited.
And I get that. And I don't disagree with that because obviously that means more eyes on the product. More people will buy your product. And, of course, that means more money. And right now, AEW is definitely in that contract deal with, what's it called, Warner Brothers right now, trying to push for a bigger contract. And hopefully they get it. And I hope to God they get on Max because this shit of $55 is breaking my fucking bank every month, man.
Last month we got sponsored by CDK. Don't forget that.
Well, he needs to sponsor us for Forbidden Door because
Forbidden Door for the other one, the one after that, and then the one after that.
All out, every fucking AEW
all in the middle, so it's all that.
But at the end of the day, you know, I would say watch the documentary, and as a promoter out there, Tony Khan or anybody out there, it's a good thing to watch, to learn, and to understand that, hey, this shit could happen to you at any point. Like, I'm not saying this is not impossible. When you go out there and do stupid shit like this, you're going to get stupid results. Now, was I sad when they went out of business? Of course, man, because so here's the issue. This is what I always say. I know people like to bash other companies. They've done this with TNA. They've done this with, like, any other company for years. The issue is, man, we always going to need a number 2 promotion. Yeah. Because when we don't have it, our main promotion, WWE, becomes very stale and very fucking boring. Take the years between 2017 to 2020. That shit was fucking horrible. It really was. And that was before AEW came on the scene, really. I mean, when they started, yeah, it was still horrible, but because of AEW, they really pushed their product out there.
And they really did grow.
Yeah. So that's the thing. They need that competition, man. They really do. Because once it's gone, I mean, it's gone, bro. Hell, even when WCW went out of business, what did Vince do?
He bought it, brought it in, did the alliance.
And then basically buried it.
Yeah.
But then eventually he realized that I don't got competition, so guess what I'm going to do? Brand split.
Yep.
Dude, those were amazing years. Raw versus SmackDown.
The beginning of Raw versus SmackDown? Yeah, that was great.
And we have never really recaptured those moments ever since. I don't think we ever will.
No, we haven't.
Yeah, so, I mean, like I said, we got 3 more episodes out there. If I was you, it's on YouTube. It was free for some reason. Last time I checked on Vice. I think it was Vice. So if you have time, check it out. Honestly, I mean, personally, I was going to come in saying, like, I already know all this shit. But the way it was produced, it was kind of nice to see.
Yeah.
I like the nostalgia factor. If you got time, watch it out there. We got 3 more episodes, so catch up on this one and then catch up on the other one. otherwise, man, go ahead. You got something to say?
I was gonna say I had to catch up.
So otherwise, that's all for today, man. I mean, that was your Madness Wrestling Report, guys. We'll be here next week for Clash of the Castle, PLE. And that's going to be a good one. We already got our predictions out there, man. So I can't wait. I really personally can't wait. We're going to be up and early, obviously, since it's across the world.
Yep.
So either way, man, thanks for joining us out there. Remember, like and subscribe and keep it too sweet.